10 random magic cards, rated, reviewed, given a number, day number 4, everybody. What's the first card of the day? It's going to be Harsh Deceiver. Only ever printed in Champions of Kamigawa, but still, you get it for less than a dime. So it's got to be pretty bad. 4 mana, 3 and a white for a 1/4 spirit. You can pay 1 to look at the top card of your library. You can also pay 2 to reveal the top card of your library. If it is a land, you get to untap Deceiver, and it gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Play this ability only once each turn. I feel like a lot of people say that this is the play this ability only once each turn is something that's only showing up on modern magic cards. Here it is. Champions of Kamigawa. 2004. That's a pretty old magic card, man. This card's terrible. I really want to like this first ability an awful lot. I just get to look at the top card of my library whenever I want. It only costs some mana. It's just really bad, dude. Don't be fooled, man. 4 mana for this? God, that's really bad. So we have to give it like a 1.4 because it's a 1/4. Let's move on to Relic Ward, only ever printed in Visions, as a matter of fact. Still get it for under 1 American quarter. This is 2 mana, 1 and a white for Enchant Artifact. An aura that enchants an artifact. You may choose to play Relic Ward as an instant. If you do, bury it into turn. Enchanted artifact cannot be the target of spells or effects. Cute, actually. It's one of these like save an artifact things. Really just save a permanent things. You usually see these for creatures, right? But it's specifically for artifacts, which is really, really neat. I actually like this kind of a good bit. I'd forgotten this card existed. I've seen it like a million times in my life because I'm extremely old. You have no idea how old I am. I am 174. And so I've seen this card a lot in my Magic playing career, which only spans 30 of those 174 years. You understand? I'm an ancient being at this point. But still, Relic Ward is pretty cool, and this is just not a card you see really played very often. But, you know, if your commander is, say, an artifact creature, but also, you know, just like random artifacts that are really important to your deck and you want to keep out. And there's, I don't know, 7 billion of those in Commander right now that you might have in your deck. So, I don't know. Relic Ward's pretty cool. We can either use it as kind of a one-time counter spell against a Disenchant or Naturalize or something like that. Or if you can sneak it onto the thing, right? You sneak it onto the guy. Then suddenly it's just going to sit there for the rest of the game and your opponents probably don't want that. Dude, I like this card. Again, like narrow. I say it all the time. Narrow is a word I'm going to use a lot in this series, I'm sure. And this definitely is. But boy, when you get them uses going, when you get them juices flowing, when you get cooking, you can make something real tasty. So I'm going to give this like a 5.2 or something. You know, I can't help myself. Can't help myself. Acolyte Reward. Up next, only ever printed in Born of the Gods. This is 2 mana, 1 and a white for an instant. Prevent the next X damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn, where X is your devotion to white. If damage is prevented this way, Acolyte's Reward deals that much damage to target creature or player. So a reverse damage. This is a reverse damage that can only reverse enough damage as is your devotion to white. However, this can hit creatures too, so I don't know. You have to have a guy to like block or to take like a red spell to the face, right? But like 9 times out of 10, the use case on this is you block with one of your guys and then you play this and prevent like, I don't know, 4 of the damage to him or something like that. Probably more than that a lot of the time. But again, let's be realistic. Prevent like 4 damage to him on blocks and then deal a bunch of damage to the thing that like it blocked. You know, you know, it could work, but it's just so many hoops, man. Like a million. I hate cards like this. really kind of do. I'm just gonna, despite like how fun this could be, you know, I think maybe what like a blasphemous act, like prevent up to 13 damage to a thing, and then deal 13 damage to something else. Obviously there's ways to game this, but you got to be a gamer, baby, if you're actually going to make this work. And I've spent too long talking about it, I imagine. So, but I don't know. I like cards you can spend too long talking about, honestly. That said, I'm just going to give it like a 2.6. It's not a good card. Fight me, probably. Let's move on to Skimfar Sadow Sage. Scryfall Sadow Sage. It's hard to say, man. This is 4 mana, 3 and a black for a 2/5 elf cleric. When it ETBs, choose one of these. Each opponent loses X life, where X is the greatest number of creatures you control that have a creature type in common. Or you gain X life, where X is the greatest number of creatures you control that have a creature type in common. So you can gain a bunch of life, or you can have each opponent lose a bunch of life, which is kind of sick, honestly. You know, obviously this is much better if you're building elves or clerics, you know. So I guess there's that. But like in your like green-black elves deck, like, whoo, it's a pretty sick card that I imagine you kind of have to play. But in any like typal deck, as long as you're like running black mana, this could definitely put some labor in. Babies can punch the clock, I think, a lot of the time. So like a zombies deck, you know, I got like 7 zombies out. I'll dome everybody for 7 for 4 mana, get a body out of the deal, you know. So I just think there's a lot of decks that can play this. You know, we're about to get a bunch more changelings. What am I saying? We're going to get a bunch more changelings when we go back to Lorwyn next year. So changelings, we just got Roaming Throne, you know, like we're getting stuff that likes a Scryfall Sadow Sage. Nailed it that time. I'm going to give this card like a 5. I'm feeling pretty generous, and I'm going to give this a 5 because I'm just getting dreams. I know I've seen this card before. It's in Kaldheim. I've been on YouTube on my other channel like since this card came out. So like I've reviewed it, I've talked about it, I'm sure, and it's just in my brain somewhere. I vaguely remember it, but I just haven't seen it in a while. It's got me excited. Visions of Sugar Plums. Just name Sugar Plum with this, you know, and deal damage equal to a number of sugar plums dancing in your head. I don't know. It's a stupid joke. The stupidest joke I've ever told in 8 years on YouTube. Still, this guy's actually pretty intriguing, dude. I like it a lot, but we will move on to Boyd Maiden. It's Bird Maiden, everybody. 3 mana, 2 and a red for a 1/2 flyer. And that's the entire card. That's the whole card. So, as cool as she looks, and as much as I love Kaya Foglio, by the way, Kaya Folio, and Phil Folio, I can't really give Bird Maiden functionally more than like a 1.1. I'll give it a 1.2 because it's a 1/2, sure. But I really like this art. I would love to have this art like hanging up in my house. That's all I'm going to say. But moving on to Plains. Oh, it's Plains. We have determined that basic lands get a 5. Basic lands pretty much always get a 5 here on the review show. So Plains, that's a 5. Go back to, I think it's like literally the last video if you want me to explain in not actually that much detail why basic lands get a 5. But anyway, we'll move on to card number 6, I guess. I think I may have mislabeled it. We might get 11 cards today, everybody. That's a good kind of problem to have. Grima, Saruman's Footman. I don't know that I've ever read this card in my life. This is 4 mana, 2 a black and a blue for a 1/4 legendary human advisor that cannot be blocked. It's a 1/4, so what does it do? When it deals combat damage to a player, there it is, that player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then that player puts the exile cards that weren't cast this way on the bottom in a random order. So whenever it deals combat damage to a player, cast the first instant or sorcery off the top of their library that you hit, and do so for free. That is pretty cute, especially considering it can't be blocked. Can't be bolted. Like, for what that's worth, I guess it can't be bolted. But it can't be Doombladed. You know, I guess, you know, something you got to point out. I don't know. This is pretty cool, bro. Like, this could go in a bunch of different Dimir decks. But, you know, you're not really planning anything in your deck around this card. You know what I mean? Like, you're just hoping you hit something cool off the top of your opponent's deck. But you will. I mean, like, nobody's playing, like, some weak sauce, like, instant or sorcery in their commander deck. Even in casual, like you're going to hit like a removal spell, a card draw spell, some huge bomb spell. So you're going to hit something you can use, right? So I don't know. It's a cool card, but I don't think that it actually has like that much actual impact in practice. And it's like kind of expensive for what it does. I know 4 mana isn't like the most mana in the world in a game of Commander, but I think that if you are going to spend 4 mana, even in this color combination, like definitely, especially in this color combination, you probably do better. And I don't know if this like really makes the slots. And I'm not really sure what commanders want the card, although I'm sure there's a couple of Dimir cards, like commanders that care about you playing stuff from your opponent's piles. So I don't know. It probably has some applications, but I'm still just going to give this card like a 5.2. upon first reading ever. And like, I'm sure there's going to be a comment eventually where somebody sees this 4 years from now and they're like, dude, Grima is the best creature in Dimir in Commander. Do you not understand that this is the best commander in Dimir? And it's like, probably not. Probably not. But just in case, maybe I should score this higher. But I'm just going to give it like a 4.5-ish, like in that neighborhood somewhere. But let's move on to, Shannon Dryads, man. Can we go to 4th edition? Sure. Let's go to 4th edition. This is a single green mana for a 1/1 Nymph Dryad with Forest Walk. That's the entire card. This is a common that I feel like you would get in every single pack of 4th edition. Like, every time. I don't know that I ever opened a pack of 4th that didn't have a Shannon Dryads, but I'm just going to give Dryads like a 1.1 because it's a 1/1. It's not a good Magic card, but unless you can get the Forest Walk aspect cooking, but even then, like, it's not good, man. I hate to say it. Hate to say it. Got good memories of opening you. Like, every time you open a pack of 4th and you look at that first card and you're like, I knew you'd be here. It's you, Shannon, but it's not good. 1.1. But let's move on to Asceticism. Good Magic card. This will actually cost you some amount of real American dollars to order a copy of. 5 mana, 3 and 2 green for an enchantment. Creatures you control can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. You can also pay 1 and a green to regenerate target creature. All of your boys are troll ascetics. Very annoying Magic card, dude. Extremely freaking annoying Magic card, you know? It's still good in a game of Commander. 5 mana is kind of a lot for this effect, and blah, 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 you know, and there's board wipes to contend with that don't care about this card whatsoever. But once you rebuild, you know, they're not going to just board wipe like 20 times a game unless you're in a really awful play group, man. You guys need to have a talk. But still, you know, even if they do have board wipes, you got a couple of mana open, regenerate a couple of important poisons. So it just gives your creatures like the two of the most annoying, like, you can't deal with this abilities in the entire game. So I got to give Asceticism, and it's good, by the way, like whether you're in the big stupid green creatures deck, you're in the +1/+1 counters deck, a ramp deck, just anything that plays creatures in green, which is like all the decks. You know, this is going to be really, really good. So sick dude, protects your commanders, protects your other important investments. Just really, really cool card. 7.3, something like that. We'll move on though to, it's the final card of the day. It's Lance. Lance No Pants. It's a single white mana for an enchant creature. That creature gains first strike. In case you ever wanted to know how much first strike costs, 1 mana. And the potential to get blown out while it's on the stack. That is a real cost too. But I don't know, first strike for 1 mana, it's better than you think, but still, you will play it in exactly 0 decks ever in your life. So I'm just going to give this like a 1.6. And that's the whole video, everybody. Subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Subscribe for more videos. Bye.